Ranger, my favorite 5e class. 1D&D reworked them again, but this time they butchered it. I dislike almost everything they did here. Let's just start. Welcome to Pack Tactics. I took a long walk in the forest today, actually. It was a good time. The Deft Explorer feat is back instead of the Expertise feature. You get 1 Expertise instead of 2. But in addition, you get advantage on nature and survival checks to track creatures in 2 types of terrain of your choice. Every long rest, you can swap 1. This is a little weird, but I think I understand why they did this. I personally think they should just be good at all terrain at this point. A bigger change was made to the spellcasting. Instead of the cantrips Ranger got access to since the last playtest, they now get Weapon Mastery. In addition, their spell preps are no longer limited to the primal spell list minus evocation spells. It's just the entire primal spell list now. Currently, cantrips like Guidance and Resistance are way too insane. So I'd actually say that the trade of Weapon Mastery and cantrips is a loss. I hope they nerf those cantrips and buff weapon masteries more. Favored enemy is now given out a level later. Now you have to concentrate on Hunter's Mark again. This, together with the changes to the spell itself, makes this an awful feature. There is one positive here. You can cast Hunter's Mark a few times without expending spell slots. But it still requires your concentration, and the spell itself is nerfed. That makes it a super hard sell. If you want to see what happened to Hunter's Mark itself, link in the description. I cover all the ranger spells in that video. I've talked about this one a few times now. Subclass progression has been reverted to the old one, and I'm against this. I prefer earlier subclass features. Now you might argue this one's not that bad, but well, still though. A few levels after favorite enemy, rangers now get a feature called Conjure Barrage, which gives you Conjure Barrage. In the spell video, I said it was good, and I still think it's good. But the feature here has an issue. It's just 1 free prep and nothing else. Sure, Ranger gets 3rd level spells at this point, but if we take a peek at Paladin, we see a feature called Abjure Foe, which is kind of like a spell. But Abjure Foe is a separate resource. It doesn't take a spell slot. And they also get 3rd level spells at this level, so I'm going to rate this feature sad. Another change to level 9 is that they get an improvement to Deft Explorer instead of the Expertise feature previously. You get 1 additional Expertise and 2 more terrain. This feature just seems weaker than what Rangers got in the Expert playtest. Nature's Veil has moved from 13th to 14th level. It no longer requires you to use spell slots to stay invisible. This feature is still very disappointing. You're at 14th level, by the way. Tireless no longer gives you hit points each rest, but is instead limited in uses per long rest. Another nerf. At 17th level, Rangers get basically another prep. And let me remind you, this is at level 17, the level where casters are turning people into dragons. By the way, I did misjudge Conjure Volley in the spell video. I accidentally skipped over the bit that allows you to choose who gets affected. That's my bad. And that improves it by quite a bit. Still though, it's not at the same level as turning people into dragons. Feral Senses was moved back 3 levels again. Another nerf. Why? This is not that strong, especially with its range. Foe Slayer is back at level 20 and now requires you to use Hunter's Mark. Why am I being forced to use Hunter's Mark? I don't understand. Hunter's Mark is boring. We just looked at Bard like recently and it got Power Word Heal and Power Word Kill, and it can target 2 creatures with both of those spells. Now, to be fair, those spells aren't very good, and I would say even with the buffs, they're still not good, but that's way more interesting than this. And let's not forget, bards can literally turn people into dragons. What made them nerf everything so hard? I don't understand. Was it the feedback? I thought the feedback was positive. Anyways, subclasses. Let's start with Beastmaster. Primal Companion is back, and that's fine. I was expecting this. But do take note, Beast of the Sky is quite strong, because you can grapple a friendly person and fly up. I've seen a Kobold player take advantage of this many times. Basically, when they're stuck in melee, the flying creature just grapples them and flies away. Now, I'm not saying that they should change it, I'm just saying that you should be aware of it. By the way, fun fact, a Find Familiar Owl is usually strong enough to carry a Kobold. Anyways, next, level 7, Exceptional Training now allows the beast to bonus action dodge. This is actually quite a strong buff. It makes them really good at doorway dodging. They also do force damage instead of the magical attack. That seems to be the norm now. But anyways, I really like the dodging. The dodging is good. At level 11, they made another feature benefit from Hunter's Mark. It's still not very strong, and I hate how they're pushing people into using this stupid spell. It doesn't even do anything remotely interesting or effective. It's not like Glamour Bard with command, you know? Or should I say beguiling magic, where they want me to cast different spells. Here they just want me to cast Hunter's Mark. They've done it 3 times now. Whoever made this ranger is addicted to Hunter's Mark. They need to calm down. Generally, this subclass hasn't moved much power-wise, but overall I'm okay with it. I've been dreading this the most when it comes to this playtest. Gloomstalker Ranger. Here we go. They received the biggest nerfs to the Nova potential of Dread Ambusher. Instead of getting an extra attack every attack action in round 1, they get Frighten instead. And Frighten is not bad damage, and frightening enemies is pretty good, though less so at range usually. But the way damage works is that it becomes less powerful the further you are in combat, because you are reducing the enemy's turns by less and less. And the number of times you can even use this is super limited. I prefer how it worked previously because it meant you could deal with enemies right at the start. By the way, Ambusher's Leap should say at the start of your first turn each combat. I think the wording here is a little weird. Umbral Sight got buffed a bit, which is cool. Here we go, Stalker's Fury. For some reason now requires you to deal split damage if you want to deal additional damage. I absolutely hate it when they do the split damage thing. The thing is, the split damage isn't even that good. This should be a Nova King. This should be focusing on single targets. If you want me to do good split damage, then just give me more charges of Conjure Barrage or something. Give me a boosted version of Conjure Barrage. But in my opinion, this should be a Nova subclass. As for Mass Fear, I think the Mass Fear should be bigger. I think 10 feet of the target is too small. I'm really disappointed with the changes to Gloomstalker. The frightening thing is kind of fitting, but how I view Gloomstalker is this is basically the Nova of Rangers. By the way, I'm surprised they kept the invisibility thing. I thought that would go for sure and they would keep everything else. This is why I don't make predictions for 1D&D, because I have no idea what they're doing. Every time it's like, oh, I think they're gonna do this. But every time a playtest comes out, it's the exact opposite. I've only gotten one thing right, and that was nerfing Stunning Strike. But of course I thought they would boost everything else in return, but nope, they didn't. Anyways, last subclass, we're gonna look at Hunter. Hunter in 5e is good. Let's see if they made it better. Hunter's Prey received one change, Retaliator, which was previously called Giant Killer. This has been buffed by quite a bit. It's hard to judge if a reaction attack is as good as an extra 1d8, or a potentially split damage extra attack. Melee being necessary, of course, makes it worse without any further context. Hunter's Lore was moved to 6th to 3rd level. This was a pretty cool feature in the expert playtest. But now that Hunter's Mark is just bad and requires concentration, it's nowhere near to being as cool. What if you're concentrating on a new powerful spell, and then you have to drop it because of this stupid Hunter's Mark? That's lame. If it was actually good, I would say, yeah, okay. But it's bad. This is the 4th time now that they want me to cast Hunter's Mark. Anyways, next, Defensive Tactics now uses the option from Superior Hunter's Defense. I think this is likely a buff. Hunter's Leap is better than Stand Against the Tide as well. Because if you play it well, this can lose an enemy out of their entire turn, versus them losing out on one attack and possibly applying one attack worth of damage to the enemies. If you're really fast or the enemy is just super slow, you could in theory just default kill them by kiting. I think this is great and really fitting for a ranger, by the way. Next, instead of multi-attack, they now get Superior Hunter's Prey at level 11. This is way worse than the original. I don't understand this change. Multi-attack was super cool because it gave you AoE features, but the thing that sucked about them was they weren't very good. You know the Link spin from Legend of Zelda? That was here, but now it's completely gone. There was also a ranged AoE feature here as well, which was better than the spin. But anyways, I really wish they put a design note here to explain why they're afraid to give AoE features here. I do not understand. Finally, Superior Hunter's Defense. You have to go back to your 7th level feature to pick another option. This is a capstone! This should have capstone level of power. It shouldn't have a 7th level feature capstone. Are you kidding me? I feel like the guy who made this, ran out of ideas. You know what you should have done then? You should have put epic feats here. Why not? I'm joking, by the way, but now that I think about it, it's actually not that crazy of an idea. But I prefer a real capstone that's good for hunters. This hunter strikes to me as incomplete. The guy either ran out of ideas or he rushed. That's what I feel like when I read 11th level and up. Maybe he got lazy, I have no idea. I really do not understand what is going on. There really should have been an explanation in the design notes here. This is so bad. When it comes to the complete part, like level 3 and 7, that's fine. They just gotta drop the Hunter's Mark obsession. That really needs to go. This ranger is ruined. And with the nerfs to martial feats, this is just so bad. And who knows what they did to the primal spell list. I desperately hope Wizards of the Coast change their minds on my favorite class. And I really hope they drop this Hunter's Mark obsession. It's so bad. End of video. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you wish to support me on Patreon, you can. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.